Welcome to Motivational Humanity. You are not alone. Have you ever walked into a room full of people and felt instantly, almost unbearably full? Not full of energy, full of everyone else's energy. You can feel the tension between the couple by the window before they've said a word. You know the host is exhausted behind that bright smile. You sense the new employee in the corner is one comment away from tears, and somehow, without anyone telling you any of it, you already know how the evening is going to end. And then, on the drive home, you sit in silence, completely drained, wondering, why does everyone else seem to move through the world so lightly, while I am carrying a room full of feelings that were never even mine to carry? If this is your life, I want you to hear something clearly before we go one sentence further. You are not too much. You are not too sensitive, too dramatic, too deep for ordinary conversation. You may belong to one of the rarest patterns of mind that psychology has ever mapped. And today, we are going to walk through it together, gently, and with real understanding. You are not too much. You may simply belong to one of the rarest patterns of mind that psychology has ever mapped. This is the world of the INFJ. The personality type so uncommon that researchers estimate it appears in roughly 1 to 2% of the population. But today is not about typing you into a box. It's about something deeper. It's about finally having language for a way of experiencing life that you have likely never had words for. Let's start with the architecture behind it, because understanding the why changes everything about how you carry the what. The INFJ pattern was first described through the work of Carl Jung, who proposed that the human mind organizes experience through specific cognitive functions, ways of taking in the world and making decisions about it. For the INFJ, the dominant function is something called introverted intuition. In plain language, this means the mind is constantly, quietly scanning beneath the surface of things, not for facts, not for data points, for patterns, for meaning, for the emotional undercurrent running beneath a conversation that everyone else seems to be having only on the surface. Paired with this is a deep capacity for feeling, not feeling in the sense of being emotional or fragile, but feeling as a genuine cognitive tool, a way of understanding right from wrong, of sensing what a moment actually needs. This is why so many INFJs describe themselves as old souls, even as children. They were never just playing on the playground. They were reading it. Now, let's talk about what this actually looks like in a real life, because theory means very little until you see it walking around in someone you know, maybe even in yourself. You walk into a work meeting, and before a single word of disagreement has been spoken, you already sense it coming. Your coworkers are surprised 20 minutes later when the tension finally surfaces. You are not surprised. You felt it on entry, the way some people feel humidity before rain. This is not magic. It is a brain that has spent a lifetime training itself to read micro-expressions, posture, tone, and silence as fluently as other people read a sentence. You can do it. You can ask about someone's weekend and nod through the answer. But it costs you something. What you are hungry for is the conversation underneath the conversation. The one where someone finally says, actually, I've been struggling, or can I tell you something I've never told anyone? Those moments don't drain you. They are the only moments that actually feed you. You would rather have one conversation that goes to the bottom of the ocean than 10 that stay on the surface of the water. This is one of the most painful patterns, and I want to slow down here because I think many of you watching already know this one in your bones. You remember your sister's worst day from 3 years ago. You notice when a friend's texts get one word shorter than usual. You show up with food, with advice, with your whole self, long before anyone asks you to. And somewhere along the way, you forgot to ask the room the same question you ask everyone else. How are you, really? For many personality types, an argument is simply friction, uncomfortable but survivable, even useful. For an INFJ, conflict can feel like an actual wound. Not because you are weak, but because you experience other people's distress, almost as if it were happening inside your own body. Researchers studying empathy and what are sometimes called mirror neurons have found that highly empathetic people show real activation in the brain's pain centers when witnessing someone else in distress. So when someone raises their voice at you, your nervous system isn't responding to words. It's responding as though it is under threat. People tell you things, strangers on airplanes, coworkers in elevators, old friends you haven't spoken to in a year who message you at midnight because somehow you are still the person who feels safe to confide in. And yet, how many people actually know what is happening inside you? For many INFJs, the answer is almost no one. Not because you don't trust people, but because you have learned, often painfully, that not everyone knows what to do with the depth you offer. This is not introversion in the simple sense of disliking parties. This is something closer to a nervous system that has been absorbing input all day and finally needs to put it all down. A closed door, a quiet car, 20 minutes with no one needing anything from you. Without this, the INFJ does not simply feel tired. They begin to feel like a stranger inside their own mind. This is the gift hiding inside the exhaustion. INFJs are often the person who believed in someone before that person believed in themselves. The teacher who saw the writer in the struggling student, the friend who saw the future business owner in the person who was still doubting every decision. This forward-seeing nature is part of what makes NFJs extraordinary mentors, counselors, writers, and quiet leaders. The cost is that you sometimes pour your faith into people long after they've stopped trying to grow into it. This pattern has become known online as the door slam, though psychologists would simply call it a boundary, finally and fully enforced. After years, sometimes decades, of overgiving, overextending, and absorbing what was never yours to carry, something in the INFJ shifts. Not in anger, usually. In quiet, complete clarity. The door closes, and it rarely reopens. This is not coldness. This is what happens when a deeply feeling nervous system finally runs out of room to keep bending. If even 3 or 4 of these signs felt like someone had been reading your diary, I want to say something important to you now. This pattern is not a flaw to manage. It is not something that needs to be fixed, softened, or apologized for in every room you enter. The same depth that exhausts you in a crowded party is the depth that makes you the person someone calls during the worst night of their life. The same sensitivity that makes conflict feel unbearable is the same sensitivity that lets you write the sentence, or say the words, or sit in the silence with someone that no one else knew how to sit in. Your nervous system was never broken. It was simply built for depth in a world that often only rewards speed. Your nervous system was never broken. It was simply built for depth in a world that often only rewards speed. But here's the honest truth, and I would not be doing you any favors if I left this part out. Depth without boundaries becomes depletion. Empathy without limits becomes self-erasure. If you have spent years reading every room except your own, here's where we begin to change that gently, starting today. First, practice naming your own emotional weather before you walk into someone else's. Before a difficult conversation, a family gathering, even a normal workday, pause and ask yourself honestly, what am I actually feeling right now? Separate from what I expect to feel from everyone around me. This single habit begins to draw a line between your inner world and everyone else's, a line many INFJs never learned to draw as children. Second, let your solitude be sacred, not something you apologize for. You do not owe anyone an explanation for needing a quiet evening, a canceled plan, or a closed door. Protecting your inner world is not selfish. It is the maintenance required to keep showing up for the people you love. Third, practice the radical act of receiving. You have spent so long being the one who listens, who remembers, who shows up. Let someone show up for you, even if it feels strange at first, even if your instinct is to insist you're fine. You are allowed to be the one who is held. And fourth, when the door does need to close on a person or a pattern that has cost you too much, let it close without needing to perform anger or guilt to justify it. Your peace does not require anyone else's permission. I think of the INFJ pattern less as a personality type and more as a kind of quiet inheritance, a way of moving through the world that notices what others miss, that remembers what others forget, that loves what others give up on too soon. It has cost you something. I will not pretend otherwise. But it has also made you the person someone is grateful exists in their life, even if they have never quite known how to say it. If this video described a part of you that you have never had words for, I would love to know in the comments. Which of these 8 signs hit closest to home? You might be surprised how many people reading your comment feel exactly the same way and realize, perhaps for the first time, that they were never as alone in this as they thought. I am reclaiming my peace. Thank you for sitting in this present moment with me. If this found you at the right time, consider subscribing to Motivational Humanity so we can keep exploring the quiet, deeper layers of who we are together. I will see you in the next one.